Good morning. I'm Kate Snow in for Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Right now on Morning News Now, powerful plea, a potential turning point in the push for gun reform in America. This morning, emotional testimony expected in Washington after a surprise White House visit and a call to action by actor and Uvalde native Matthew McConaughey.
So while we honor and acknowledge the victims, we need to recognize that this time, it seems that something is different. These regulations are not a step back. They're a step forward for civil society and the Second Amendment.
Now, lawmakers preparing for a high-stakes hearing on Capitol Hill with those personally impacted by the recent mass shootings. We have team coverage with the latest as the call for change grows. Long road ahead, frustration growing with the rising cost of gas, and so far, experts say there's no end in sight. The everyday impacts now being felt by millions of Americans as more states join the $5 club. Final opinions. This morning, all eyes on the Supreme Court with dozens of decisions set to be delivered, a number of them as soon as today. We'll break down some of the biggest cases on the docket, including the one that could mean the end of Roe v. Wade. And C is for celebrating. On this World Oceans Day, we're paying tribute to the Earth's most massive bodies of water with the help of a former astronaut and, get this, aquanaut who's lived in space and underwater, plus what you can do to help protect the deep blue sea. Isn't that crazy? In space and underwater?
Yeah, and today, what was the day? It's World
Ocean Day.
Ocean Day.
I know.
Who knew?
So we'll celebrate.
That's
I know,
wonderful.
right? And
hey,
so
good
fun to
morning.
have you with us. Good morning. I know.
Welcome back from. I haven't seen you since Italy.
I know. I was on a little trip doing some wedding stuff, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, but it's so fun to have you with us, Kate. And I have a long history. It's always fun when we get to spend time together. We're happy to have you with us at home too. And we begin this morning with those growing calls for change when it comes to gun laws in this country.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers is working to reach a deal by the end of the week. Meanwhile, a son of a victim of the mass shooting in Buffalo, as well as actor and Uvalde, Texas native Matthew McConaughey, made impassioned pleas for lawmakers to act.
I'm here today in the hopes of applying what energy, reason, and passion that I have into trying to turn this moment into a reality. Because as I said, this moment is different. We are in a window of opportunity right now that we have not been in before. A window where it seems like real change can happen.
In a stark reminder of these tragedies, there is this gun violence memorial on the National Mall in Washington right now with more than 45,000 flowers, each one representing gun deaths. While inside the Capitol this morning, a House hearing where family members of Buffalo and Uvalde shooting victims are set to testify. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Rafa joins me now. Ali, good morning. What can we expect from the hearing, first off?
Yeah, Kate, well, today, the second of two hearings this week featuring the family of the victims and the survivors of those two mass shootings in both Buffalo and Uvalde will testify. I want to play a clip, a particularly emotional clip, from the son of Ruth Whitfield, this 86-year-old woman who was killed at that Tops grocery store in Buffalo a couple weeks ago. Listen to her son speaking yesterday at this hearing.
What are you doing? You're elected to protect us, to protect our way of life. I ask every one of you to imagine the faces of your mothers as you look at mine, and ask yourself, is there nothing that we can do? My mother's life mattered. My mother's life mattered. And your actions here today will tell us how much it matters to you.
So we expect another day of emotional testimony, both in person and virtually, from several people who will testify. We know one of the pediatricians that cared for so many of these children killed in that Texas mass shooting will testify, as well as the parents of one of the survivors. We also know that one of the fourth graders who survived, that girl that smeared her best friend's blood all over her face and played dead to survive, will also be testifying. Her parents say she's still suffering from nightmares after that incident. And so Chairwoman Carolyn Maloney is saying that she hopes that the testimony we hear today will be a call to action for lawmakers in Congress who are still kind of narrowing out the details of any sort of gun legislation reform package.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I spoke with that man in Buffalo the day after the shooting about his mother, and he broke down in tears. I mean, I will never forget the moment I spent with him. We heard a little bit from actor and Uvalde, Texas native Matthew McConaughey a moment ago. It was part of an emotional speech that he gave, a really remarkable appearance inside the White House briefing room yesterday. There was a powerful moment when he talked about the shoes one of the young victims in Uvalde was wearing. Let's listen to that.
Wore these every day. Green Converse with a heart on the right toe. These are the same green Converse on her feet that turned out to be the only clear evidence that could identify her after the shooting. How about that? Can both sides rise above? Can both sides see beyond the political problem at hand and admit that we have a life preservation problem on our hands?
We've seen such emotional pleas from actors, from lawmakers, parents, victims, school-aged children, like we've seen in Parkland, like I saw after Sandy Hook when I covered that massacre. Is this moment different? What's the latest on the negotiations in Congress?
Well, senators hope that this moment is different. They've said publicly that they hope this is different from so many other past, as you mentioned, failed reforms. We know that this group of originally 9 senators has been whittled down to a group of 4, and the buckets that they were considering have sort of shifted a bit. We know that instead of raising the minimum age to purchase an assault weapon from 18 to 21, we know that now they're considering expanding some sort of system to have juvenile criminal records accessible when people between the ages of 18 and 21 try to purchase a gun. We know red flag laws as far as those negotiations. Instead of a federal red flag law, negotiators are considering a grant or incentive program for states to consider implementing those red flag laws, as well as several other things like hardening school security, putting more money into having some sort of federally protected mental health program. And so negotiations are still being worked out. Senators say that they hope to reach a deal by the end of the week to hopefully vote on next week, Kate.
All right. Ali Rafa, thanks so much.
And in Uvalde this morning, there's more frustration and there are new demands for information from key officials who are saying little 2 weeks after the massacre at Robb Elementary. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky is in Uvalde with the latest.
Yeah, Kate, Savannah, good morning. And hard to believe it has now been more than 2 weeks since this horrific tragedy struck Uvalde, and we are seeing an increased call for answers. The district attorney has now enlisted the help of 2 former DAs and 2 current DAs to sort through this massive investigation. This as families in Uvalde demand the truth.
We want facts and answers. Just
inside an emergency city council meeting.
It makes me feel real frustrated.
Uvalde's mayor still demanding answers.
Regarding transparency, Mayor, it's now been more than a week since there's been any public statement about this investigation.
It's not, but again, I don't control that side of it. You have to take that up with the district attorney.
DA Christina Busby, now overseeing the investigation, has yet to speak publicly. Noticeably absent, newly elected council member Pete Arredondo, the school's chief of police.
I can hear the gunshots.
Angelia Rose Gomez rushed in when she says police weren't acting quickly enough.
I just make my first way in.
The mother was captured on video, running away from the school after rescuing her sons.
I didn't see not one cop running with me or not one cop ran in there with me. They weren't doing nothing.
After sharing what she witnessed, Gomez said law enforcement called her, threatening obstruction of justice charges if she kept speaking out. Meanwhile, inside room 112, Arnulfo Reyes' class had been watching a movie. He told everyone to get under the table and pretend to sleep. He spoke with ABC News about his anger over how long it took for officers to move in.
You have a bulletproof vest. I had nothing. There is no excuse for their actions.
Reyes was shot 3 times. He says he prayed under the table, hiding with his 11 students.
The shooter killed every single student in your classroom.
Yes, ma'am. That's when I got to thinking, you know, this family lost one. This family lost one. I lost 11 that day. And I just went to my parents and said, I'm sorry. I tried my best. of what I was told to do. Please don't be angry with me.
Now, we did ask the mayor of Uvalde when was the last time he personally spoke to Chief Arredondo. He says it was back when Texas Governor Greg Abbott visited Uvalde just days after the shooting. When I asked him if he had personally reached out to invite him to that city council meeting, the mayor told me he had not. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Morgan Chesky, thank you so much.
President Biden is traveling to Los Angeles today, where he'll deliver remarks at the inaugural ceremony of the Summit of the Americas. Despite some controversy over the guest list there, the White House says the president's looking to reassert U.S. leadership and curb China's influence in the region with a raft of new economic measures. NBC News White House correspondent Carol Lee is following all of it for us. She joins us now. Good morning, Carol. So what more can you tell us about the agenda at the summit? What does he hope to accomplish there?
Well, on the economic front, Kate, a number of things. The president's going to unveil what they're calling the Americas Partnership. So it's a big economic initiative designed to spur trade in the region, to enhance the economic ties between the different countries in the Summit of the Americas, to deal with supply chain issues. There'll be health initiatives and also some $300 million in assistance to fight food insecurity in the region. So there's a big focus on the economic component of this. There's also a focus on migration, and overshadowing this is that absence of a number of countries, Mexico boycotting the summit because the U.S. did not invite Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, and then others following suit, El Salvador, Honduras. And so there's a bit of a shadow over this. The administration's still hoping that some of the initiatives that they roll out will be effective nonetheless.
All right, and migration, obviously the biggest issue on the table, at least for the U.S., which is seeing record numbers of migrants at the southern border right now. There's another caravan moving up through Mexico into the U.S., trying to get into the U.S. Vice President Harris has been tasked with addressing the root cause of immigration issues. What are we hearing from her at the summit?
Well, she's really focusing on the economic issues, saying that the root cause is the reason why people are leaving their countries and trying to come to America is because of the economic conditions there. So the thinking being if they can address some of those at home, then they can deal with the immigration problem, the migrant problem at the border. So she spoke to this a little bit yesterday. Take a listen.
And when we provide economic opportunity for people in Central America, we address an important driver of migration. This investment is on track to generate, as a result of what we have done so far, tens of thousands of jobs, investments in sectors such as agriculture and textiles.
One of the things, Kate, that they're going to unveil is this Los Angeles Declaration. So it's focused on migration, and it basically says that it's how each of the countries in the region will share in dealing with the migration issue. Now, the question is, how long does this take? You mentioned that caravan. This is not something that's expected to be able to address those concerns immediately.
All right, Carol, thanks for keeping an eye on it for us. Thanks so much.
Now, the November midterm ballots are taking shape this morning as primary election results from California and 6 other states come in. NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray has been following it for us, and he joins us now. Hey, Mark, good morning. So one of the most watched elections, it actually wasn't a primary, it was a recall vote. This was in San Francisco, the district attorney. What can you tell us about that?
The district attorney, Chesa Boudin, got recalled overwhelmingly by a 60% to 40% margin. In Savannah, you know, what is notable about this contest is if you take it in isolation, you have one city district attorney getting recalled in the California election. You could say, hey, this is just a one election. But this comes after multiple members of San Francisco's school board ended up also getting recalled. And you can kind of take these two developments together as some frustrations of a lot of reforms, whether on schooling or on crime and how a city handles crime. And voters are getting frustrated about their own governance, including and especially in cities like San Francisco.
Let's stay in California. Now, I actually want to ask you about this expensive race for Los Angeles mayor. This is one that a lot of people are talking about. Representative Karen Bass, billionaire developer Rick Caruso came in for the top 2. That means that they're going to meet for a runoff in the fall. But what can you tell us about this race, these two campaigns? Tell us what's interesting here.
Yeah, what's really interesting is Rick Caruso. He's a former Republican turned Democrat who ended up spending nearly $40 million to be able to get to this runoff election. And he is, and this kind of has some similarities to what we saw in San Francisco, he's been running against the homelessness in the city, on the rampant crime there. Karen Bass, that comes from the Democratic establishment of the Democratic Party. She was one of Joe Biden's vice presidential shortlisters. And this sets up a really fascinating general election runoff that we're going to end up seeing. And Savannah, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to end up seeing a lot of Karen Bass trying to litigate Rick Caruso's former Republican ties.
Yeah, former Republican until quite recently, just before jumping into this race. So that is certainly an interesting one to watch. Now I want to switch over to Iowa. So we kind of saw something of an upset in the Democratic race for Senate here. We had retired Admiral Mike Franken beat former Representative Abby Finkenauer. He'll now face incumbent Chuck Grassley, who handedly won the GOP nomination back in November. But what should we know about this race?
Yeah. And so, Savannah, you are right that I think it's a slight surprise to a lot of people who followed politics, and particularly when Abby Finkenauer ended up getting elected in 2018 in that Democratic wave year. She had become kind of a well-known person from the Joe Biden wing of the Democratic Party. She ended up losing re-election in 2020. And it wasn't really that much of a surprise to me, however, because Franken ended up outspending her over the airways and ended up running, frankly, the better campaign. And Franken now will run against Chuck Grassley in the fall. Grassley, the Republican, longtime Republican senator, should be the overwhelming favorite, not only in a state like Iowa, which has been leaning Democratic over the last few years, but also in a national environment which heavily favors the Republicans right now.
All right, lots to keep watching this primary season as we head into November. Mark, thank you so much.
Well, this morning, the national average for the price of gas continues to climb toward the $5 mark, and some states have already passed that threshold. The price of diesel fuel rising at an even faster rate nationwide. These higher prices are not only having an impact on trucking, obviously it's also affecting consumer goods as well. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock joins us now from Miami with the latest on the pain at the pump. It is painful, Sam. Good morning.
There's nobody, Kate, good morning, that is not touched by this. You look over my shoulder, you'll see it's $4.99 at this gas station in Miami. And it's been like a bad waiting game as the country is just underneath $5 a gallon, Kate. The question this entire time has been, what's the breaking point? At what point does gas get so expensive people just stop driving? And we are awfully close right now to finding out, as not surprisingly, this is hitting lower and middle class families the hardest. Record gas prices are being felt across the entire country. But California's pace-setting $6.39 a gallon average could soon become America's reality, with prices creeping up coast to coast. John Bonilla makes engineering house calls for a living. If you didn't have a corporate car to charge the gas on, how destructive would these prices be for you?
I'm not sure that I would be able to work every day. Couldn't afford it.
Last Friday, 8 states sat above $5 a gallon on average. This morning, that's jumped to 16 states plus D.C., and the economic jolt is not felt equally. A new Bank of America report found household credit card spending for fuel surged to 7.8% by the end of May, but a whopping 9.5% for families making under $50,000.
They call it inflation, but somebody's pocket are getting inflated. We're the ones hurting down here, you know, the poor people, the working class.
I mean, I'm minimum wage job, so pretty much most of my paycheck goes to paying for my gas.
Americans rocked by a double whammy, higher prices at the pump and in stores. Companies like Walmart and Target reporting disappointing first quarter earnings as many shoppers prioritize gas and groceries over home appliances and clothes. And diesel fuel has outpaced regular gas by a wide margin.
It always comes out of the owner-operator's pocket. Fuel, maintenance, everything else.
Tamim Shanab owns 3 18-wheelers and transports frozen food and produce. He says he's spending $700 or $800 more a week on gas, and like many smaller truck operations, has seen employees flee.
Because I can't afford to pay them what I used to pay, you know, in the past.
The fallout from fuel really touching, Kate, every corner of the economy. And AAA did a study recently asking consumers at what point would they stop driving? 3/4 of them said once gasoline reaches $5 a gallon, it's expected to cross that threshold this week. So we are going to find out if that's going to become a reality.
Yeah.
Kate.
Test in real time. Sam, thank you.
Now let's take a look at your morning news now weather.
Michelle Grossman joins us in the studio.
Woo.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. So good to see both your faces looking
You too.
so
Good
pretty
morning.
in your pink. Good morning.
Pink Wednesday.
I know. I forgot. Next Wednesday. I feel like I have pink on my ears.
Your lips.
Oh, I don't. My lips. I do have pink earrings downstairs. I'll wear it next hour.
Okay.
All right, we are tracking more showers and storms today. We had that Monday, Tuesday. We're going to see more showers Thursday and Friday. This is what we're dealing with this morning. A strong complex of storms moving through parts of Kansas into Oklahoma and also Texas. You can see a lot of lightning here, hearing the thunder too, seeing some heavy rain. You see some purple there. That could be indicating where some hail is falling as well. Heading to the northeast, we're looking at some soggy weather this morning. That's going to move out of here. We're going to get a little break and then more rain later on tonight. Also looking at the chance for more severe weather. 31 million people at risk today. We're looking at the risk for gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour. Could see some hail an inch or larger. That's enough to cause some damage too. Maybe take those cars indoors. And we're looking, not indoors, into your garage. Don't take it indoors. We're looking at a few tornadoes as well. And this threat extends all the way from Oklahoma into the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and also the Tennessee Valley into the southeast. We are looking at a severe threat once again on Thursday, with winds gusting up to 75 miles per hour, damaging hail up to 2 inches or larger, and a few tornadoes are possible as well. You can see it's over the same area, so we're seeing a potential of some flash flooding as well. Here's the setup. We have more days of storms. This is a third day this week. We're going to have two more this week. We have those morning showers. They're going to be moving out, and then that severe threat throughout the central and southern plains later on this afternoon. Another round of rain in the northeast, and this is a big story too. Dangerous heat. 27 million people impacted in the south central states into the southwest. And look at some of these temperatures, over 100 degrees in so many spots. We're going to see some records broken. So 104 in Del Rio, 102 in Abilene, 103 in El Paso. Same stories we had throughout tomorrow, 106 in Tucson. And by the weekend, this is where it gets dangerous when it's so prolonged. It's hard for our bodies to kind of handle that heat. So Phoenix, we are looking at 114 on Saturday and 113 by Sunday.
Ooh, Palm Springs too.
Yeah, it's into the desert Southwest too.
Yeah.
To California.
All right. Well, what else is new? Something severe.
Right. It never ends.
Every day we're like, it's not a quiet day. Yeah.
One day I'd like it, Matt, with just a big sunshine. All good. Yeah.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.